Hey, what's up guys, Aaron here, and welcome back to a brand new video here today on F1 Manager. But today it's a pretty exciting one because we've got an F1 Manager 23 mod to show you guys today, with all the different driver transfers baked in now to the new database when you start a new career mode. Also, of course, the new liveries for each of the teams and performances, which means that this Aston Martin team with Alonso and Lance Stroll now is actually much improved and is the second quickest car just about in this mod, with the Ferrari of Leclerc and Sainz. Of course, the Red Bull guys were unchanged with Verstappen and Perez, and the same for Mercedes, although a new look in all black now for the Mercedes W14, and that's actually the team we're going to be taking control of later on, just to show you off the gameplay in a race sequence. But we've got the Alpine team, of course, now with Ocon and Gasly, the two Frenchmen alongside each other. The black and red Alfa Romeo with the same pairing of Valtteri Bottas and Guan Yu Zhou. But you'll notice also throughout these teams, some of the reserve drivers are slightly different to the original game, because yeah, this mod completely changes the database and actually has adjusted some of the overall attributes of some of these drivers as well. But Haas with their new MoneyGram livery with Magnussen and Hulkenberg, McLaren with Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, and unfortunately, due to the start they've had in the season, bumped down a little bit in terms of their car performance compared to the original base game. AlphaTauri, of course, with Tsunoda, and then De Vries coming in to make his full Formula 1 season debut, and finally Williams with Albon and Logan Sargent. So yeah, a very cool mod by Gizcard Design. Still a bit of work in progress with helmets and things like that still being updated as we go on, but as it stands right now, the core database and everything you kind of would need aesthetically is there, with all the driver transfers baked into the database. So when you start a career mode, it's all there for you, all the 2023 transfers, and also, like I said, the performances, with the Red Bull being the clear out-and-out favourite, out in front, first place for most things. But now the Aston Martin, for example, the third best in a lot of classes, second place in some, and so overall the Aston is actually the second best car on the grid, with Mercedes and Ferrari quite close third and fourth there, with the rest of the team obviously behind. So yeah, I mean, really awesome mod in terms of having the performances, transfers, aesthetics there, pretty much everything you'd want in a new season mod, as it were. And there's still some other things to be added in, but a link down below will be in the description if you want to go check that out for yourselves with Gizcard Design. But we're going to take you through a bit of gameplay here, and you can see how qualifying went, simulating through that, and the proof of those performance mods, basically, to kind of try and match it as best they could to real life. You can see the Red Bulls out clear, but Alonso able to climb up into that third place spot, and, you know, very close stuff between the Ferrari, Mercedes, and also the other Aston Martin of Lance Stroll. And then, you know, you would say the Alpines, yes, they haven't been showing their full hand, but you'd say the Alpine probably brings up the bottom part of the top 10, and then you've got a very tightly packed midfield all the way down to the bottom. So we're going to be starting this kind of example race gameplay with Mercedes. We've got Hamilton in P5, Russell in P7, and we're going to run through just so you can see a visual representation of this mod in action. And so for all intents and purposes, this is the start of the F1 2023 season in F1 Manager.
It looks like clear skies tonight, with the drivers now in their grid positions. And here, we've got Lewis Hamilton. They're in the front half of the pack, so there's plenty of potential for them. And here we can see Russell. With a top 10 position on the grid, this race could really go either way for them. Will their hard work pay off today? And this is it, the Bahrain Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go!
And so begins the start of the 2023 Bahrain Grand Prix here with this new 23 mod. Hamilton getting a pretty damn good start to me. It's up into third place from P5 in the all-new black Mercedes W14. Alonso up into P2, very feisty, and got the move done on Sergio Perez. We couldn't quite finish the move and complete and stay ahead of Perez ourselves with Hamilton there, and Russell's actually lost a position, I think, to Carlos Sainz on the opening there. But I think compared to the F1 23 mod, let's say, for the Cody's full F1 game, with the manager game, because a lot of the models are actually very close, and there's a bit more openness in what you can do with the liveries. You'll see with this 23 mod in the manager game, the liveries are way more realistic to what we're going to get, obviously, in the next year's iteration of these games, basically, because unlike the Cody's game, F1 Manager with the car models doesn't have such a limitation sometimes with the liveries in terms of like mirroring and what you can and can't do with the design. So you'll notice like a lot, all the cars that have changed, they very much do really look like their 2023 counterparts, even though this is on obviously last year's game, as Russell makes a pretty tidy overtake on Sainz there, and our pit crew pretty damn happy about that as we get him ahead into P6. Hamilton just sticking with the two Red Bulls, which at the moment they're both behind Alonso. So here in this game, Alonso flying high in the Aston in P1, wringing the neck out. Eventually him and Perez make a pit stop, and so Verstappen takes the lead. Hamilton, we've kept him out with Russell in second place now. Russell will climb to third because Stroll comes in, so both us Mercedes cars staying out longer because we started on the medium compounder tyre compared to the rest on softs, and Hamilton down the inside of Verstappen. Oh, how he would love to be doing this in real life, but right now, of course, we've got the tyre advantage with the medium tyres coming in better, as those softs for Verstappen will be a bit worn out. I try to do something a little bit different by splitting the strategy of the Mercs in this race. In the end, in hindsight, was never really going to work. We're trying to make an audacious one-stop work with Hamilton to get some kind of track position, whereas with Russell, we're on a two-stop with everyone else, and you can see he's clearly on a much better strategy because he's 14 seconds up the road, sticking in a DRS train with the top five, which I must say, unlike in real life, is very juicy to look at. You got Perez in first, Alonso was in first, but he made this error in down through the left-hander and lost first place. So it's Perez P1, Alonso, Sainz, Verstappen P4, and then Stroll P5. So in many ways, like the Cody's F1 game, the F1 Manager game throwing up a bit more of an exciting race than what we're seeing in real life in 2023, with obviously the DRS, and that kind of training mechanic in the game being so powerful enough to allow the likes of Alonso and even Sainz to be stuck in there. And to be fair, also with us now with Russell overtaking Lance Stroll, we're not too far off that top pack though, but Stroll able to defend and stay in P5 for now. And at this stage, you can probably really see that I probably am very much on the wrong strategy with Hamilton, because we're about 12.5 seconds behind, and they're going to come out probably only a couple of seconds behind us with Lewis. So eventually he will get caught, and Russell's definitely on the better one, as we're ahead of Stroll now, lap 36 in P5, and now underneath the rear wing of Sainz. Now everything's shaken up a bit more like it is in real life, with Verstappen back out into the lead with the fastest lap. Perez second place as the rear gunner, and a very, a podium you're going to be very used to seeing this year, with Alonso bringing up the third place. But I would say that kind of shows the performance modding of this mod is actually kind of bang on. Like, yes, you do get some exciting moments where, the Ferrari was up there in the top three, Alonso is fighting for the lead, but eventually, as you go through a full race distance, it's pretty much what we are seeing in real life. The two Red Bulls up there, Alonso's, able to get around that third place, and then Ferrari and Mercedes very close. We're close to Sainz with Russell. Leclerc's way down the order, so actually very much like real life, Leclerc's had some sort of issue at the start of this 2023 season, because he's out of the points down in P12. Don't even know what on earth will happen to him, and it masked the problems we had with managing Hamilton's strategy, because he fell down from what was track position in first place down to P7 on his own. And you may notice on the bottom left, I even bit the bullet and just pit him for a set of soft tyres to maybe try and get the fast lap of the Grand Prix. So definitely did not call that strategy correct with Hamilton, and so it's going to mean Russell's our highest finisher in P5, although the Astons are quite close together. I thought I could try and maybe retake Stroll maybe on the last lap, but it's not going to be, and so we'll have to settle for P5. But looking at that running order, I think, at least with the top teams, that is quite correct. You got the two Red Bulls there. Sainz P3 fares. I think Alonso clearly had an issue because he fell down the order from what was P3. And then the rest of them all quite close together. Maybe the AlphaTauri is a little bit high with De Vries there. But then you've got, Joe in the Alfa Romeo, Norris in the McLaren, Magnussen. The two Alpine cars didn't do as well around Bahrain, which is realistic to what we saw in real life. But obviously still, like I said, a work in progress progress mod with future tweaks being added, and like I said, a few other kind of aesthetics being added still, like helmets, full helm updates for every driver. But as mods go, even more so than the full Cody's F1 game 23 mod that we saw on the channel, you know, a couple of weeks ago, this one really made it feel like this was the 2023 season within last year's game, owing to, obviously, I think, you know, more so the kind of openness about the livery modding, etc. But the only thing it can't do is change that sort of one-dimensional gameplay that F1 Manager kind of, you know, we kind of got used to at the end, and which is a large reason of why I've not really, you know, played it in a while on the channel. But do let me know in the comments below if you want to see maybe a mini-series of trying out a season with one of the teams here with a 2023 season manager mod. But if you have enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And like I said, if you want to go check it out, there'll be a link in the description. It's still work in progress and updates will still be coming, but you can check it out as it is in the description below. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.